Welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Debbie Javier. Janea? Doctor? What's my name?
Dr. Debbie Javier, bye!
Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Dr. Debbie Javier. So today is the continuation of the lesson on how to master tenses of verbs. So we'll be focusing our discussion on the perfect tenses. So among all the tenses, this one is the most difficult. Why? Because we don't have this tense in our own language. So at least for the simple present, we have the simple past tense. For the progressive tenses, we have the present progressive, and the simple future tense also for the simple tense. For the perfect tense, we don't have this in our own language. That is the reason why our students are having a hard time in understanding and mastering the perfect tenses. So for the perfect tenses, we also have three tenses. We have the present perfect, the past perfect, and the future perfect tense. So I'll be presenting to you again how are you going to teach the different tenses. So I will be giving descriptions. I will be discussing to you also when to use the specific tenses, and then I'll be giving you examples and patterns on how students will be able to easily construct sentences using the perfect tense. So to start with, we have the present perfect. So how do we construct the present perfect tense? What's the pattern? So make the present perfect tense by using has or have plus the past participle of the verb. So I have here two columns of singular and the plural verb phrases using the perfect tense. So we have has for singular and have for the plural. So examples: has cooked for singular, have cooked for plural. Has eaten for singular, have eaten for plural. Has walked for singular and have walked for plural. Now, let's proceed on when to use the present perfect tense. So the first one, use the present perfect tense to show an action that began in the past and still going on. So meaning to say, it started in the past and up to this time, it is still going on. It's still happening. So example number one, Dr. John Cruz has served as the Dean of the College of Education since 2016. What does it mean? From 2016 up to this time, he is still the Dean of the College of Education. So it's an action that began in the past and still going on. So up to the present, he is still serving as the Dean. Second example, the Hosson family has lived in Queensland, Australia for 10 years. What does it mean? Has lived, meaning to say, up to this time, the Hosson family is still living in Queensland, Australia. That's the first use of the present perfect tense. When else can we make use the present perfect tense? Use the present perfect tense to show an action that began in the past and was finished at an indefinite time but is closely related to the present and or the future. So we have three examples. The students have already finished those exercises. Have already finished, meaning to say, this is an action that began in the past and was finished at an indefinite time because there was no time expression mentioned here. Number two, the quiz bee contestants have arrived early. So have arrived early, meaning to say, an action that began in the past and was also finished at an indefinite time because there was no time expression mentioned here. It was only mentioned that the contestants have arrived early. Number three, Jenny has submitted the requirements. So in this example, we can see that Jenny has submitted the requirements. It is an action that began in the past and was finished at an indefinite time in the past. Next, we have the past perfect tense. So how do we construct sentences in the past perfect tense? So we have here the pattern. Make the past perfect tense by using had plus the past participle of the verb. So it's very simple. So I have here two columns. We have the pronouns I, you, he, she, it, we, and they, and then the verb phrases, combination of had plus the past participle of the verbs. So we have had walked, had cooked, had played, had eaten. Meaning to say, we can either make use of a singular or plural verb and we still make use of the same verb phrases. So we have here, when to use the past perfect. Use the past perfect tense to show an action that happened before some other action in the past shown by a past tense verb. So we have an example. The students had attended the club meeting before they submitted their project. So if you look at the sentence, there are two verbs here. The first one is had attended, which is a past perfect tense, and then the second verb is in the simple past tense. So that's a clue. You can easily tell your students that in the past perfect, there are two actions. So an action that happened before some other action in the past. And the two verbs, one verb should always be in the past perfect, and the other verb should be in the simple past tense. Had attended, and then the second verb is submitted. Number 2, before Dariel came here, she studied in London. So we have two verbs also. One is in the simple past tense, before Dariel came. So came is the simple past tense verb. And the second verb, had studied in London. So had studied is in the past perfect tense. So it's very simple. I hope you were able to get the idea on how this past perfect tense can be presented in class. Next, we have the future perfect tense. So how do we construct the future perfect? What should be the pattern? Make the future perfect tense using will plus have plus the past participle of the verb. So we have two columns here. The first column consists of the pronouns, which are the possible subjects. So I already combined singular and plural. And then the verb phrases. So we have, for the pronouns, we have I, you, he, she, it, we, they, and other subjects possible, whether it's singular or plural. And then the verb phrases, example, the combination of will plus have plus the past participle of the verb. So we'll have walked, we'll have cooked, we'll have played, we'll have eaten. So when do we make use of the future perfect tense? How are we going to make use of it? So use the future perfect tense to show an action that must have been completed before another future action. So there are two. So you make use of the future perfect tense, and then you make another one or another future action. So we have example. The students will have submitted their projects before the club meeting. So we have here, will have submitted. So it shows an action that must have been completed. And then another future action before the club meeting. So that's it. Before the club meeting. It's another future action before they will be attending the club meeting. Number 2, by the end of the year, more students will have mastered the use of online learning. So by the end of the year, that is the future action. Will have mastered is the future perfect tense. So will have mastered, will have been completed. This action will have mastered, mean to say they will have been completed before another future action. So may I repeat the two examples for the future perfect? The students will have submitted their projects before the club meeting. And the second one, by the end of the year, more students will have mastered the use of online learning. So that's it for the perfect tenses. I hope that I was able to share with you something very useful for you to be able to teach your students and your children with the perfect tenses. Please remember, we do not have perfect tenses in our own language. That's why a lot of students are a little bit confused on the use of the perfect tenses, since we do not have this in our own language. So please don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell button for you to be notified every time that I will be having a new video. So again, this is Dr. Debbie Javier. I would like to leave you with this line. Happy teaching and always be a blessing to others. Bye!